My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. There are no flights scheduled right now from the Atlanta International Airport, and there are no flights, period, that are scheduled or planned to fly a circle around the Metro 1 and 2 apartments, which is MIG Real Estate. That is gang stalking, and so is the third party that pulls up as the entity that is gang stalking with the people of the state on the ground. All right, engages in what is taking flight around that apartment building, which is called relevant positioning. And this is speaking to the concerted action that the homosexuals of the military, the mentally ill stalking in planes and helicopters, are engaged in with the people of the state on the ground. That's specifically Securitas. That's not engaged in security. Securitas is engaged in criminal activity. Securitas is engaged in psychological torture. Securitas is engaged in terrorism. The direct opposite, the exact opposite, and doing so while maliciously representing yourself as security is the entity that's engaging in what is the criminal conduct that the people of the state pose, which is serving to criminally defame you. It's serving to harass you, and it's also relevant to that program of psychological torture. This is the P.O.C. This is stalking by the entity that's engaging in the pattern of conduct here with that impossible light activity last night, with the lesbian that I documented molesting me with impossible light from the parking lot over there, impossible light activity. The entity that's engaging in what is stalking by helicopter. The entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct, and this is that same entity. All right, that's called criminal summoning by the same homosexual entity, the one that's being disbanded. This department, those are demons. And that's the mental illness that you can see on the outside. The Ontario Police Department are engaged in psychopathic pacing, and it's impossible light that's moving all over while they are monitoring. And they're monitoring with Securitas that also engaged in kidnapping with him. This is why he is going to prison. And this is also why the stalkers of the Ontario Police are hereby being outed as homosexuals, child rapists. They are stalkers, and they are severely mentally ill, while you were witnessing them engaging in what is criminal activity in concert with the military that is stalking, targeting through commercial planes, no ordinary stalking. This is the stalking in the commercial planes, showing the direct link with a gang stalking terrorist agency, not a police department. Doing so while they are in relevant position at 5:44 a.m. The entities engage in this while they are monitoring evidence, and this is also what they do when they are monitoring evidence that's published online, and then they are stalking me in real time, doing so under the fake sun, for example. The entities engaging in this pattern of conduct while they are engaging in what is criminal activity with the same apartment complex, MIG Real Estate. You're being prosecuted, by the way, MIG Real Estate. So is John Stewart Company. So is Sarah's Regis Group. So is GL Partners. This is the city of Ontario that's gang stalking with an airport, gang stalking with the airline industry, gang stalking with a police department, and all those angles that are targeting with the people of the state, such as Securitas. This is the P.O.C. Gang stalking police departments do not take the focus away from the people of the state, such as Securitas employees. They show the criminal defendant, the principal that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, showing that they are gang stalking in concert as an entity. That's what that is accomplishing when you're seeing what is criminal summoning by demons who are also engaging in a pattern of conduct, speaking to that which is distinct from the exercise of any duties of an officer, which the Ontario Police have not been engaged in. And they have none of that protection. There is no immunity. They are being prosecuted as domestic terrorists, which is what they are, while they're engaging in this pattern of conduct with the U.S. military. This is the P.O.C. It's currently 5:45 a.m. That is federal stalking, and doing so while using police vehicles, which is why this agency is subject to disbanding and prison, while they are stalking and representing themselves as police officers. That is domestic terrorism in the United States, and it is committed in furtherance of murder and kidnapping, and that is exactly what they have conspired against me in concert with the people, lying about my identity, lying on my character, repeatedly kidnapping me, harassing me, and making false and malicious assertions in concert with the demons that are stalking me, the people of the state. This is P.O.C. And that is confirmation regarding stalking by an airport that's flying in circles around the Metro 102 apartments. The Ontario Police Department are stalking with that airport, with that airline industry. P.O.C. 5:46 a.m. Alrighty, what you are looking at is the entity engaging in what is stalking. And this is what the Ontario Police Department are engaging in concert with the stalkers that are using commercial airline planes. They also use the helicopters that are stalking me in the city of Ontario. The entities engaged in this while I am at what is the OVITT Family Community Library, where you will see serial stalking by commercial planes, stalking that is also committed by John Stewart Company, MIG Real Estate, which, as you can see, where I'm at a different location, the criminal entity, the entity that's criminally monitoring, is engaging what is a U-turn around the building of Metro 102, but it's flying around the front. While you'll see this is Metro 102 and facing at the opposite end, this building here. The entities that is flying around the front, the face of that building, they're flying in alignment to me, stalking, which is what they're doing in the previous video, stalking, trying to do so inconspicuously behind the tree while Securitas is gang stalking. They arrive at their place of work. He's going to prison. And then the stalker, he's the co-defendant that he committed kidnapping with, by the way, criminal summoning and kidnapping, is also engaged in what is psychopathic pacing, the mentally ill that have a psychotic break, as I document. That's what you saw the Ontario so-called police department commit. The 3 police vehicles lit up like Christmas trees, crossing path 1, 2, 3 after another. That's psychopathic pacing. This is what you see the psychotic break occur as using helicopters. And the entity is engaging what is psychopathic pacing by flying plane after plane after plane after plane after plane after plane after plane. Stalking in alignment to where I'm at is where they conduct a U-turn, which is also planes that have no passengers on them, not headed to a destination, serving the criminal purpose of stalking for monitoring with the people of the state, where they're deviating from where planes from the airport to a destination with passengers on it are engaging in what is the published flights that the Ontario International Airport have admitted to engaging in, while the entity is simultaneously gang stalking me, which the FAA is aware of. The FAA is aware of MIG Real Estate gang stalking with the airline industry, aware of John Stewart Company and the Ontario City Hall gang stalking, the Ontario Police Department gang stalking. This is how the entity has the in-sync engagement in stalking me. The FAA is aware of planes that are engaging in U-turns throughout the city, planes from the City of Ontario Airport that are stalking me in Upland, California, while the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is that P.O.C. And I'm documenting John Stewart Company while the demons are parked right in alignment to me in front of the parking garage of John Stewart Company, while the demons are seated in front of the establishment of the John Stewart Company, while the entity is amplifying train activity, while John Stewart Company is in relevant position at the venue where the entity rises and sets the fake sun at the John Stewart Company, where the entity is stalking by helicopter, like I documented in 4 separate videos, while John Stewart Company is in relevant position while I'm at the OVITT Family Community Library, where the entity maintains the fake moon at nightfall in the engineered environment where multiple shadows and the people of the state are pacing, where John Stewart Company is being federally prosecuted. All of its employees and its residents are gang stalking, and that is a prosecution of that corporation. That legal fiction, which I have surrounded with evidence. This is a civil and criminal prosecution. And John Stewart Company is just the example. Every single corporation is subject to the same exact analysis. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:24 a.m. That's Union Pacific, which is impossible audible activity. You can't hear the train. You're not going to hear the train on the train tracks. You also aren't going to hear it at that incessant manner. The more that I analyze, the more that the entity is fearful, the louder that the activity gets. The entity tends to try to compete with the sound of my voice, which is nothing other than audible activity, speaking to what is a real means of the demon possessed that are speaking to what is real-time reactions. And a real-time reaction, meaning you're monitoring, is the activity creation, whatever method it is, it becomes louder. And this is speaking to what is, for example, light activity, which has an animated character to it. It's not ordinary light activity. It's not normal light activity. It's light activity that takes on a character of its own. In fact, it is directly affected by what it is that I say as I say it. All right, or the intensity with which I say it. The demon possessed react to it. This is demonic activity, and these demons are fearful. Thus, the Union Pacific, who is going to be prosecuted for what is supernatural conduct. That supernatural conduct is relevant to psychological torture. Okay, this is the P.O.C. While the mentally in that and the mentally ill are operating commercial planes. This is Sarah's Regis Group and Wells Fargo. That is gang stalking. While you're looking at the entity stalking in the path with light, where they are in relevant position. This is how public corruption is executed, and this is how the mentally ill, not the intelligent, the mentally ill, the incompetent, the obsessed stalkers are both admittedly engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct. The government is the one that's controlling the lights, which are a method of light activity, stalking on the roads and the highways that happen to be where the fake sun is rising and setting as I document, and they are in relevant position to all of these venues that are subject to what is a prosecution. People occupy these buildings, people at these buildings, and these people are the people of the state, and these people are also demons. P.O.C. It is currently 6:26 a.m. You will see the images of plane after plane after plane, which is combined chronologically with this video. Okay? And remember, when I'm at the Ontario Town Square, and the entities engaging in that pattern of conduct, flying over Mule Car Smokehouse, flying and doing a circle around MIG Real Estate Metro 102 Apartments, but not when that's because it's relevant to where I'm located. And this has nothing to do with flights that are coming from the airport, taking off from the airport, having any sort of passengers or a destination. The destination is to come and stalk me in relevant position, which is P.O.C. This is Delta Airlines. Delta Airlines is being federally prosecuted. Delta Airlines is stalking with the people of the state, and this is the method of stalking with light in the path. This is the mentally ill pattern of conduct, and this is what the Ontario Police Department are engaging in the previous video captured. The Ontario Police are subject to not just prison, they're subject to mental examinations, mandatory, okay? They are engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct in concert with the airline industry. This is the entity that's engaging in what is the criminal pattern of conduct in furtherance of murder. And their psychological torture tactics shall be tangible evidence relevant to the psychiatric evaluation that this entity has been subject to while gang stalking, and it is a matter of tangible evidence, speaking to the threat that a gang stalking society serves, which is necessitating martial law and involuntary commitments, and that is going to be the case. Gang stalkers of the Ontario Police Department, of American Medical Response, of the Ontario Fire Department. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:27 a.m. And also the gang stalkers of the U.S. military stalking in commercial planes. This is psychopathic behavior, which is posing a threat to themselves and to the public. This is P.O.C. This is P.O.C. And what you're mindful of is that this is the same exact circumstance in the afternoon when an entity is identified as, and this is clearly stalking as well. This is beyond stalking. This is further in furtherance of murder. It's monitoring. And this is combined with the images that I'm capturing where they're both engaging what is incriminating John Stewart Company, flying over the senior citizens who are going to be homeless because the federal government and no government body is going to provide any assistance to documented, prosecuted domestic terrorists, which is what gang stalkers are. That's what John Stewart Company is. That's what the people of the state that are occupying, that's what the corporation, which is Delta Airlines, is engaging in this. And this is the entity that's flying over Metro 102 Apartments. That's MIG Real Estate. The entity is engaging what it's targeting as I'm capturing. The entity is doing so with the entity that is stalking on the roads and the highways, like I document. And this is how you know that there's stalkers up in California, because the entity is keeping the fake sun while I'm walking north of Euclid Avenue. And then they're supposedly walking and driving in sunlight, minding their business, or this is the way that the pattern of conduct that's supposed to result in what is criminal defamation of that targeted individual. That's how it's supposed to appear. But you know better, and so does the rest of the world, where this crime scene, which is supernatural, is exposing the Nephilim, the demon-possessed, who are severely mentally ill people who are engaging in what is criminal activity, which is directly precipitating from their condition, demon possession. It is impossible that the fake sun, it is impossible that the fake sun is what I have established that this is, that remains over me. That's why it's still here. It is currently 7:14. That's why it's still here 11 hours from now. This is on the record at the same OVITT Family Community Library. This is why the government is using commercial planes, not headed to a destination, and no passengers are on them, where the pilots engaging in U-turns and dipping and flying around the apartment buildings and hovering over throughout the city and also into adjacent cities like up in California. There's no passengers on those planes. The Southwest Airlines that's stalking on Euclid Avenue and 6th Street, flying over my head at 1444 North Euclid Avenue, flying west over my head. There's no passengers on those planes. That's the entity that's stalking. Southwest Airlines is engaging in that pattern of conduct with regard to what the airline industry is doing, and it is identified in this specific environment, where today at 7:14 a.m. the entity is keeping the fake sun over me, which is what I document upon my arrival to the Upland Public Library, where the people of the state are identified as stalking. This is a Ceres Regis group, where the people of the state are engaging in criminal activity while they are working at the venue, present at the venue, residing at the venue, and they are doing so with regard to what is public corruption, and it is assigned to that third party facilitating venue under the fake sun, where the government, as you see, is benefiting from that presence, benefiting from that activity, which is also not a coincidence amongst a supernatural occurrence such as a fake sun, which is, according to my documentation, proof that is, in two places at the same time. Okay, now this is not the sun that sits high up in the sky over us. This is the fake sun that hovers down, that's beside us, that's beside the buildings, that shoots light like a laser, that appears underneath covered structures, that creates multiple shadows, that creates what is engineered light that's also inside of the parking garage of the Saris Regis Group. This is that's the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, which is impossible light activity. It's also impossible light activity while the fake sun is here, and I'm arriving at the Upland Veterans Monument, and the people of the state are walking in this light. This is activity creation, and it's engineered light. And this is where that fake sun remained yesterday upon my exit of the Upland Public Library. And this is how you're understanding the conspicuous criminal activity, which is relevant to violence that a population is engaged in, including while the mentally ill provide a wealth of evidence against them and against the U.S. government, the U.S. military, law enforcement agencies, exposed as stalkers who are monitoring and furtherance of murder and psychological torture. There is, in other words, no natural environment that includes the sun not only hunkered down, hovering, and not setting any buildings on fire, but it is here 10 and 11 hours later, where they are engaging in pacing in that same exact environment, staring at their devices like the mentally ill who are indeed engaged in federal stalking in violation of Title 18, 22618 subsections 1 and 2, engaging in surveillance and furtherance of murder at that. This is that P.O.C. It is currently 7:16 a.m. This is where you see the entity that's engaging in U-turns over the apartment building, and you think in your mind that you have a defense, that you don't know the target individual and you don't have anything to do with that and you don't know anything about it. This is the entity's untenable and unreasonable position. While that pattern of conduct is silently underway, you will be prosecuted whether you open your mouth foolishly to have it be used against you, whether you exhibit severe mental instability, behaving as though nothing is happening and that you're not doing anything, or whether you sit there silently and I never even see you, I don't encounter you. Under all circumstances, you're being prosecuted. Everybody that lives in this apartment building. All right, the residents of the city of Ontario, the state of California. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 7:17 a.m. under the fake sun that is still here. You'll recall when I come from church, that fake sun that remains over those church buildings, which is merely on the opposite side of Euclid Avenue, St. George, and on the opposite side of what is Lemon Avenue, which is right here, which runs north and south. The fake sun merely deviates to go to the opposite block over here and to go to the opposite side of Euclid. And I return after 1 o'clock and this fake sun is still here over the top of my head right here. That's also on the record. And then I go to Upland and I'm inside of the Upland Public Library, and I show you at the same time what's remaining over my head at the OVITT Family Community Library, which is exclusive. You can't see anything on the opposite side of this library. It is not remaining in Upland, California, and it's not in Upland, California. It's in a distinct, readily identifiable, clear, and exclusive location. And the entity is maintaining this environment with regard to surveillance. This is the P.O.C. The entity is maintaining this environment, and that's prosecuting the mentally ill that keep giving evidence against itself, which is used in the evaluation, the psychiatric evaluation, that is the tangible evidence of gang stalking by a government and a population. This is P.O.C. And this is the prosecution, and this is also the notice to every corporation that's engaging in any sort of business with the state of California, and also corporations, which is a general means of identifying any and every type of business that's engaging in, the maintenance of any business that's also on the venue of the internet, which is nothing other than a facilitating venue. This is P.O.C. Right, walking under the fake sun like you see here, this is a straightforward, strict liability case. This is the government that's engaged in that as well. And this is also speaking to what is the direct evidence regarding severe mental instability. It is literally that which is exhibited in the environment and the activity, the malicious activity created while the entity engages in what is ostensibly free private speech. And it is nothing of the sort. The same overweight third party doing so at 3 o'clock in the afternoon is how you are recognizing the psychopathic disorder. All right, the malicious stalker that is doing so right in your face to psychologically torture you, regardless of whether you know their name or regardless of whether you are identifying anything about them having any sort of familial relationship that's not relevant under the law. It is relevant insofar as malice. It is relevant insofar as the entity that is targeting you, psychologically torturing you with those that are closest to you. It is the government's pattern of conduct. All of the people of the state, whether you know them or not, are third-party agents. All of them, including the corporate entity. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:20 a.m. The entity engaging in psychopathic behavior, resuming ongoing, which is what I'm documenting. Okay, dozens of pictures of the entity stalking, having a stalking field day, which I'm going to have a field day in court to the demise of John Stewart Company. This is the field day. I'm going to have a field day in court. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 7:20 a.m. Alrighty, this is indeed Southwest Airlines. That is a stalker. All right, Southwest Airlines is no more of a stalker and terrorist and a co-conspirator than UPS, FedEx, Amazon Prime, Delta Airlines, Southwest Airlines, the entity that's maintaining the ongoing criminal pattern of conduct, where Southwest Airlines, based on the entity's behavior, while they are failing, and it is impossible to contradict the pattern of conduct, and the mentally inferior, the mentally incompetent that you hear sounding sirens because they're anticipating mental institutions and disbanding, are engaging in stalking with Southwest Airlines. That's why you'll see Gerber, who's going to be committed, stalking me under the fake sun at this same venue at 10:04. And Southwest Airlines is hovering over a senior citizen complex. Equally criminal, equally improper, especially when Southwest Airlines is coming from Terminal 4 and Southwest Airlines is supposed to have some sort of destination. But it looks like the entity is engaging in what I've been documenting. Southwest Airlines is a stalker, and there is no, contrary to the demons that think if you do a U-turn with UPS, it's less incriminating, less stalkerish, under the exact same fake sun, amongst the same demons gang stalking of the Ontario Police, amongst the vagina monitors of the Ontario Fire Department, amongst the delusional psychopaths of AMR, and the demons that are sitting around pacing on the ground. The entity is making its own distinction, but again, demons don't know anything. When UPS and Amazon or FedEx are making a U-turn, those are supposed to be the couriers that aren't assigned to a terminal number, which is not the point. The demons do not understand. This is why they are being committed. It's not just a low intelligence. That low intelligence is because they're not human and they are obsessed. Okay, so that obsession overrides everything, including reasoning. The entities engaged in stalking, and Southwest Airlines engaging in what you see UPS engaging in. UPS that thinks it's a good idea to do that. UPS is engaging in what is stalking and doing U-turns in Upland, California, while I'm at IHOP at A and Euclid. UPS is engaging in stalking and doing U-turns over the Stater Brothers parking lot at the Ontario Village Shopping Center. UPS is engaged in stalking and doing U-turns over the 10 freeway. Gang stalking me while I'm walking to Upland. UPS is no more of a stalker and a terrorist than Southwest Airlines, who you see engaging in the same criminal pattern of conduct. And it doesn't matter whether they're doing flips or cartwheels or U-turns or blatantly stalking by flying over their co-defendants, John Stewart Company. It is equally stalking, and the specific environment demonstrates that, and the demons of the Ontario Police Department and the cockroaches that are pacing on the roads and the highways, who commit murder under this fake sun. With that government that is maintaining aerial surveillance. And that's what's relevant behind that. Not only are there no flights scheduled for Southwest Airlines, I started this video, it's 2 minutes and 50 seconds. It is currently 7:39, so that 7:37, 7:36 a.m., there's no flight schedule for Southwest Airlines. And coming from Terminal 4, just to make a U-turn and go back, is this what Southwest Airlines, is this what headquarters is going to speak to? Is this what the FAA is speaking to, being ignorant about? Because you are speaking while I'm documenting at any airport stalking an American citizen, which is this is scientific evidence of it. All right, this is the P.O.C. Southwest Airlines is going to be federally prosecuted, and companies like that, they commit murder like UPS did in Kentucky. They commit murder. They're engaged in criminal stalking. And you are understanding how an airport, how an airline company, how a commercial plane, how a jet, how a helicopter is stalking one person. Obviously, I'm going to exhaust the pockets of this ghetto airline company. And I'm also going to serve to remove corporations like Southwest Airlines from existence. Terrorists that form corporations are a threat to national security. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:40 a.m. All right, this is called stalking with light. It's mentally ill behavior, and it's also corrupt. Pay attention to the environment as well. This is impossible light activity that's on the inside of a parking garage on the first floor with the fake sun's on the opposite side of it. So where is sunlight reaching in this way? This is a stalker. Not only are they parked illegally, no stopping anytime is what the sign says, and all of the parking spots are also empty. This is called stalking in the path. While I'm on this side of the sidewalk, of this side of the venue, leaving the OVITT family community, very heavy stalking, psychopathic behavior. Under the fake sun, which you see is also progressing toward me, where it is over downtown Ontario luxury apartments in the evening. And this is how you are being federally prosecuted as I educate you about your criminal activity that you are civilly and criminally liable for, CEASELESS Regis Group. The people of the state, which is you, CEASELSS Regis Group, while they are engaging in the pattern of conduct, utilizing under any circumstances what is being anywhere near your venue where an American citizen is subject to gang stalking. And they are doing so at what is 320 North Euclid Avenue, doing so while illegally parked even. The entities that's engaging in the pattern of conduct is specific environment, which is downtown Ontario luxury apartments, and you are looking at the entity that P.O.C. on behalf of the government that is also utilizing this venue, which is speaking to public corruption that you as a business are sharing in by virtue of profiting, maintaining an establishment, and the entity directly convicted because of the environment that is the crime scene, the maintenance of the venue itself, impossible light activities in your parking garage. I'm prosecuting you. The stalkers are maintaining presence, stalking me while I am anywhere near your venue. I'm prosecuting you. And this is all state action. I'm prosecuting you. It is currently 8:32 a.m. This is what I'm documenting when I am referring to the entity stalking on a nightly basis, a demon parking right here with their hazard lights on, and this is the entity doing so on an ongoing, continuous basis, and that is in concert with the demons that are stalking by planes and helicopters. They are aiding at CEASELSS Regis, downtown Ontario luxury apartments with light activity, stalking in the path. This is speaking to the zone of relevant position. The stalker is in your path, even if they're 2 miles away in your path, 2 miles above you in your path, flying in circles over the mountains while the fake sun is over your head, is recognizing who is stalking you. While the entity's amplifying train activity, they are stalking you, and they are also doing so as establishments where the fake sun is over the venue, which you are surrounded with this evidence as well, CEASELSS Regis Group. This is P.O.C. Righty? It is the entity that's engaging in that together. This is Impossible Light. They pace in and out of the parking garage with Impossible Light moving. You are being prosecuted. You are absolutely being federally prosecuted. 58144 Bob 2. This is the entity that is profiting from the criminal system of gang stalking, which the U.S. military has shown you, the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Fire Department have shown you how that is executed, and you are being educated about that which you are engaging in. But that's because you are a malicious third party, and this is letting you know that you do not have a defense under the law. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 8:33 a.m. All right, the people of the state, gang stalking at 311 Laurel Avenue. And you'll see the fake sun over me where they are gang stalking by place of residence and also utilizing their vehicle. And they're doing so while the fake sun is remaining over me at the same time in Upland, California, where 84311 Larry 4 is also stalking at D Street and Laurel. Doing so at what is 8:41 a.m. The entity is stalking me, and which is captured in a series of videos captured while I'm at the Veterans Monument outside of the Upland City Hall and the Upland Public Library, where the fake sun is planted over me. And the entity is engaging what is stalking, flying over me in military planes and helicopters. Military planes and jets. And the entity is engaging, and the entity is always stalking by helicopter, by the way. Stalking by helicopter in a manner that I can capture it on video is the suicidal behavior of unintelligent and woefully unprepared terrorists who are going to be put in institutions. But it is the entity's engagement in what is a psychological torture tactic for you to see the helicopter, is for you to be fearful and be fearful of the helicopter and what else comes when you are being followed and harassed by helicopter, which is a direct indicator that the government is terrorizing you, is seeking to cause that sort of fear, psychologically torment you, which is in furtherance of ultimately murdering you. And that same entity that has access to helicopters, that is in fact stalking you, is the one that commits murder as an entity, whoever in that entity commits it. If not literally the demons that are in the military, but you have what are the people of the state that commit murder, and then the entity engages in what is the illusion of a criminal justice system, an investigation, a search for the body, an autopsy regarding what contents were consumed when the target individual killed themselves. And this is the entity that commits murder and claims these things and engages in this. The entity is stalking into the fake sun that's over me in Upland, and is stalking in concert with the military that is stalking in commercial planes at 311 Laurel Avenue in Ontario, California. And this Latino male walks to his facilitating venue at 311 Laurel Avenue in Ontario, California, while he is threatening my life and engaging what is psychological torture as an entity, because all of his neighbors are gang stalking me as well. The entities engage in this while that fake sun is over me, and I capture that image of that facilitating venue where the people of the state reside, where they will be subject to federal prosecution, and they maintain no privacy rights. They maintain no defense in court with regard to living on being present, and you're not engaging in the pattern of conduct. This is the absurdity of the government system regarding public corruption. The entity is doing that while I'm speaking to what is a clear distinction regarding my location yesterday, regarding what will be my location tomorrow, regarding what was my location 365 days ago, regarding what was my location at the end of the evening last night, and where it is right now in the morning the next day. The entity is stalking with the government that flies over that venue, 311 Laurel Avenue, which is the people of the state stalking as I'm leaving the OVITT Family Community Library, and the entity is also doing so while the people of the state are stalking on the roads and the highways. This is how an entity stalks you all together. They're all following you. It's like a crime scene, and the people in the crime scene are stalking all together. And they are stalking at the St. George Catholic Church where that crime scene follows, and so does all that criminal activity. This is the entity that's engaged in that together, and the fake sun that's over me in Upland, California is competing with the defendants that are engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct by congregating at St. George Catholic Church at what is Palm Avenue. This is the P.O.C. This is criminal surveillance, the highest level of malice amongst the population, while they engage in things such as religious practices, which is designed to disguise criminal activity by a government, something that's so unfathomable, something that seems so distinct and distinguishable from criminal activity, praying to God using the name of Jesus. And they're engaged in vagina monitoring. They're doing so with children. They are stalking literally by being in that building that they maliciously refer to as a church, and it's nothing other than gang stalking by monitoring spirits that do not have a purpose and who do not believe or follow Christ Jesus. This is the entity that's engaging in that. The fake sun is present. I'll take a picture of that right now. I'm doing that at 8:45 a.m. This is where that entity is stalking. All the stalking that I'm documenting is ongoing, and it is committed by St. George Catholic Church. I just took the crime scene to show you that St. George Catholic Church is stalking and is monitoring, and so are all the demons that are congregating at this Catholic church. Okay, this is the P.O.C. This is the term Catholic Church, those that pray to objects and graven images and recite things that are in the Bible, which you do not actually practice. By the way, that's proven by the fact that I'm being gang stalked by you. This is calling this St. George Catholic Church is synonymous with satanic practices. It's a synagogue of Satan. So do not be deceived by titles. Okay, the word Catholic is synonymous with Satanism. You know them by their deeds. The so-called Catholics are gang stalking, and they're sex offenders. Okay, that's the P.O.C. This is state action, and the government is maintaining a fake church to engage in the criminal pattern of conduct. There is no private property. This is nothing other than the same P.O.C., and it is committed by that government. That also provides evidence proving that. And the mutually exclusive placement of the fake sun over me in Upland versus over me in Ontario, where it's hovering over the fake church at Palm Avenue and E Street, is the evidence of criminal monitoring that is underway by those of all races, all ages, and in every area. Gang stalking at the drug facility, gang stalking at the church, gang stalking at the liquor store, gang stalking at the residences of the people of the state. They're not private residences, though. They're facilitating venues, just like the police department. Fake sun, engineer light, stalking, P.O.C. It is currently 8:47 a.m. The entity is engaged in pacing outside of the entrance, so I'm capturing that. This is the entity that's engaged in that, monitoring. And these are demons that are multitasking. All right, I will capture also an image right now. The fake sun is right over me at the St. George. And yesterday it's remaining over me in Upland, California, and between the Upland City Hall and the Upland Public Library. These are, in fact, demons that I allow you to listen while they are using the name of Christ in a blasphemous manner. Doing so with regard to what is Satan's role. Satan's role is to feign being a Christian in front of you, for you to believe that this demon is a believer, in order to then offend you, hurt you, and then you associate the name of Christ. You denigrate the truth of the word of God because you've associated it with demons that are not even believers in the first place. And I'm not talking about those who are imperfect. I'm talking about those who do not believe. You are aware of those that are raping your children, for example, and claiming that you're a pastor, that you're a believer in God, and You don't have to be a pastor. Engaging in what is distributing drugs to people. You're a drug dealer and you are also a bishop in the church, or you also maintain what is a Bible study every Wednesday and Saturday night. These are the demons that are not genuine believers. And while you're pacing in that environment under the fake sun, and you're wearing your slacks and your button-down shirt and your tie on Sunday morning, these are the demons that are monitoring. And it is not different geographically. I am what is west of the OVITT Family Community Library in the city of Ontario, as a matter of concluding this here. And the entities engaging in the pattern of conduct, it does not stop and it does not change, because I am at a building that says the word church, whether it's a Catholic church, a so-called Christian church, a Baptist church, a Protestant church, Methodist church, all of these other sub-religions that demons have created, because none of it's in scripture. All right. But the entities engaging in that pattern of conduct, and there is no difference with regard to, and this evidence is the labor showing you that. It doesn't matter what they call it. It doesn't matter what they're physically doing. What they're doing is stalking. And they are demons doing that. And Satan thinks that he can distract your mind. Oh, well, no, we're at a church. Couldn't be doing that. Oh, no, we're at a hospital. We couldn't be doing that. Oh, no. We're the police. We've got these uniforms on. We take an oath. We couldn't be doing that. Oh, no, I have a baby here. See, I'm pushing the stroller. See how I'm cuddling and compassionately holding this baby and kissing its forehead? We couldn't be doing that. We maintain a school district. We care about the literacy and the protection and the betterment of children. We couldn't be doing, these are demons that, by the way, have sex with children. They're creatures and they have no purpose, including while they maintain fake churches. And they're all here concerning me. And they know who I am and they know what I'm documenting as well. And this is the entity that is forced to do it in front of the whole world. This is the P.O.C. and that's why a fake son is over a fake church. And it is in alignment with what the Bible says. The Bible that is true, the Bible that Satan has used to get away with lying and also trying to deter you from the truth of the Word of God, and also who Christ is. He is God. He is the image of the invisible God. And the evidence of the P.O.C. is also testifying to that. This is P.O.C. I'm at the entrance at 8:50 a.m. where the supernatural is over me. And the entities on the inside of the building claiming to be Catholics. That is just another reference claiming to be believers. P.O.C. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is the entity that is indeed stalking. Okay, everybody? This is the entity that's airlines that is stalking, okay? Engaging in what is stalking at Euclid Avenue and East Street. If you'll recall, my video evidence has me in Upland, California. And my evidence has me here in Ontario walking to Upland, already present at this time and also at an earlier hour. I'm also here in the middle of the afternoon. For example, in 2025, before this venue committed kidnapping on July 4th, 2025 at 7:15 in the morning, where the sun also would still not be present. Not only is it present, it's present over me, where you see L. Edwards gang stalking me wearing a police uniform under the guise of the entity that is calling the police because you want me to make a purchase. That's the entity that's hostile to my documentation while they're monitoring my device. They're going to prison. The entity has the fake sun over me at 9:33 in the morning. I'm capturing video of the military stalking me by planes, where the people of the state on the roads and the highways in Ontario, California are gang stalking with Alaska Airlines. Understand where I'm at. That's the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, where the fake sun was on the opposite side of that apartment complex as I walked from the library, where the entity kept the fake sun, where it rose and it's still over me. And the entity is moving that fake sun while Alaska Airlines is shown to be, even by scientific evidence, targeting. And it's also, they're all prosecuted while the sun is over me in Upland at the same time, and I am capturing video after video after video of the entity stalking me by plane, psychopathic pacing, just like the Ontario International Airport conducts with all of the commercial airline companies. This is the P.O.C. I am at East Street and Euclid. All right, that's a reference to the fake sun that you see over me at the St. George Catholic Church. That's the entity that is gang stalking, 8VCW619. The entity is engaging in what is gang stalking, regardless of the way in which that entity is targeting, through maintaining a gas station, through maintaining an apartment complex, through maintaining storefronts, through maintaining traffic, through maintaining what is a drive-through, with regard to buying your coffee. It's all the pattern of conduct. And the entities engage in this while they are monitoring the evidence moreover. So that is coloring the crime. And it is insight into the mental illness of an entity that agrees to commit this act against American citizens that they think that they can defame. And this is speaking to that public corruption. This is P.O.C. This is the system of the Nephilim, the demon possessed. And they maintain fake churches. That's Satan's church. Okay? And Satan's church would like you to think that they have different denominations or whatnot. That's a superficial means. It's Satan's church. And you know them, and you know them by their deeds. All right? This is the P.O.C. It is currently 9:39 a.m. where I am simultaneously in Upland, California, which is a matter of video evidence. You can reference it. P.O.C. Alrighty, you will see the images of demons, these lesbians driving Altima, gang stalking, molesting my breasts. These are definitely lesbians. They're demons. Impossible light activity piercing through the window of the chevron while the fake sun is over the top of my head. The entity is maintaining this fake sun while it is on the opposite side of this street at the library at 6 and 7 o'clock this morning. These are indeed homosexuals that are engaging in criminal activity, which is demonic in nature, which is directly revealing severe mental instability that's a threat to the public. That license plate is documented, and this is the entity of sex offenders stalking me on an ongoing basis. And this is what I'm referencing when I'm speaking to what is in fact homosexual and psychopathic and criminal activity. And these are the Nephilim. These are demons. Okay? This is the P.O.C. It is at Chevron 12:49 p.m. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. The entity resuming flight over the Civic Center. That is, let's just be clear, flying over. Where the entity is flying over, the entity is identifying its co-defendants. You're flying over the City Hall. That is a gang stalker. Flying over the Senior Center. The Ontario Senior Center, that's a reference to the City of Ontario, the municipality. That is a gang stalker. They're flying. Relevant position. The University of Laverne College of Law, that is a gang stalker. A gang stalking law school is one that is in no position to prepare anybody to sit for the bar. You will not be qualified. No gang stalker, no terrorist is going to be an officer of the court. That's an inherent issue regarding moral turpitude, amongst other things, such as literally licensing criminals to then practice law. This is what's wrong with the system right now. The entity is engaging what is stalking, making a U-turn at John Stewart Company, MIG Real Estate, Metro 102. The Ontario Town Square Townhomes, that's Geo Partners, you're all being prosecuted while the entity is gang stalking with commercial airline companies that are doing so under the fake sun. This is what I stated this morning as I am capturing the fake sun and I'm on video capturing gang stalking, which is an entity stalking, and this is the quintessence of that pattern of conduct. You have the R again. This is the entity that doesn't have a purpose. He's going to prison. He's engaged in obsessive psychopathic stalking. You will see him in a plethora of images, and where I go to a different location, you'll see the fake sun over me. This is the psychopath who's engaged in what is nothing other than what is the purpose of the people to keep you under surveillance, to follow you around. And the evidence that any person in that, amongst that entity, in that group, in whatever neighborhood, whatever city you're at, is the fake sun that's over. And that's what I'm capturing at this same location at 7:36 in the morning. I'm on video. This demon is in images walking through the same walkway during the 7 a.m., 8 a.m. hour, and it is currently 1:09 p.m. where he's walking at the same, and you're not walking in a specific environment where the government is engaging in what is acrobats using commercial planes, that is gang stalking. You're not walking, you are stalking, okay? You are engaging in what is, in other words, you are not under any circumstances engaging in anything other than criminal monitoring. All right. There is no private speech. There is absolutely no right. So while you engage in gang stalking in plain view, you are openly and clearly providing what is a strict liability basis to prosecute you while there is no mystery that you are gang stalking. The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct and doing it in plain sight. This is the entity that's engaging in that. And this is at 1:09 p.m. where I'm at this same walkway. And this is where the entity kept this fake sun. It's over me at this apartment complex, downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments. I took a tour around the same entrance. The demons are pacing inside of that parking garage. Impossible light raining down from the ceiling. Impossible light. Those are demons. It's not sunlight coming off of their car, shooting up off of their car, shooting off of the sides of their car. It's not even the sun that would still be over here. And at 4, where it's 4 o'clock in Florida right now, this is not in Florida. It has not left the city of Ontario. It has not even left North Euclid Avenue. This is where, and this is the evidence that an entity is very much indeed engaged in stalking. And the more that the stalkers approach, this is the P.O.C. and this is the same entity that's going to be subject to martial law. This is violence as they engage in it. This is what Satan does. Oh, she's documenting. Let me go come closer and document. This is going to be federally prosecuted and put in mental institutions. All right, that's the entity. The entity did the exact same thing this morning. The fat male that walked by like nothing is happening, and something is very real is happening. they're going to be prosecuted with that same conduct. This is psychopathic behavior. And it's shared by the psychopaths that's flipping and U-turning in commercial planes, and engaged in pacing around me by helicopter, and engaged in what is stalking using sirens and lights on emergency vehicles. The same mental illness. This is that P.O.C. This is the demon-possessed that are gang stalking. This is the entity keeping that fake son that's not in Florida. And the people of the state, the demon-possessed, the Nephilim, are giving you a walking, talking advertisement regarding mental illness, which is a national security threat, where their criminal activity is threatening your life and well-being and your privacy. They're also engaging in this while they are maintaining this throughout the country, because this is not in Florida. And this is what is relevant, because you're talking to you in prison, and this is pleading for prison. That's exactly what's going to happen. Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in that, and while you present the evidence to the medical professionals, there is no resistance. There's no, with regard to the information to put you into a medical facility. It is not just that person within the entity, it's the entire population that shares that pattern of conduct. The entity has favorites that it gang stalks me through, but the entity, you have any random person, any new face, it's the same entity. And those that like to engage in providing what is an ongoing manual regarding how heavily you are stalking, those are the ones that are going to be locked up, and you're not going to get out. You're going to expire in a mental facility. And this is what an entity is doing on behalf of the government. The government that's mentally ill, they're being discharged, they're being removed from office, they're being prosecuted as terrorists, they're being deported out of this country. All right, this is the entity that will not be remaining in those industries. You're not going to be firefighting, you're not going to be police officers, you're not going to be in law enforcement, you will not be running for political office. You are exposed as terrorists. You are exposed as psychotic. It will not be happening. The law changes, the landscape is different because of gang stalking, the proof of it. There are no more conspiracy theories. This is the P.O.C. The entity is engaged in this at what is 1:12 p.m. at the same location where I was at this morning, where a population is engaging in what is violence, and this is the same impunity with which they will threaten your life and take your life, steal your identity, engage in what is perjuring themselves in a courtroom. That's engaging in that pattern of conduct with them. They go in courtrooms lying on the character of American citizens while that court is aware of it and is engaging in it. That's why they're stalking as a police department, stalking as the people of the state, stalking at the courtrooms, as I've documented. The P.O.C., that's why they're waging malicious assertions against you, they being the demons who are gang stalking you. That's the P.O.C. This is public corruption. It is currently 1:13 p.m. While you're engaging in what is flipping, the entity is engaged in the same thing, conspicuously just advertising mental illness, flipping and U-turning and stalking and following around in commercial planes and helicopters. You're going to regret that when you are sitting in front of the medical professionals that are going to do something about you and the problem that you pose. This is P.O.C. License 6LTD864, I believe. And nonetheless, it's AutoZone. AutoZone at 570 where Ontario police, they're stalking. And they're stalking on the same street where the fake sun is remaining. Sunrise and sunset is what the evidence shows. But you're looking at big picture. I'm at the OVITT Family Community Library at 7:12 a.m. on video. The fake sun is over me. It is 3:38 p.m. Hope Boulevard is... let me see, it intersects with Lemon Avenue where the library is at. This is the entity that is stalking under the fake sun, and that third party is speaking to what is gang stalking with the venue AutoZone, which is across from Wendy's, which you already know is gang stalking. When the entity is harassing you, those are the symptoms of targeting. This is P.O.C. capturing images of the fake sun, and it's all, not just the symptoms of targeting. That's, you know, if you're ignorant about the environment, if you're not, or the entity that is gang stalking is the entity that's harassing you, targeting you. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and they're doing so while the fake sun remains over me from the library, which I already captured on video, and it remains over me to Wendy's at 590 East Hope Boulevard. So while the entity is engaged in criminal summoning, stalkers of the Ontario police who tell on everyone. If the people of the state were going to try to be in court and be like, we don't know anything about the government system, we don't know anything about any police officers, we don't talk to we don't know the police. The entity is being prosecuted with the evidence of a very clear and concise and established pattern of conduct. Even with their legally irrelevant claims, the fact that you are in agreement and acting in furtherance is established by your behavior, including while you exhibit mental illness and engage in it, while you don't say anything, and while you conduct yourselves as though you're strangers. When you're not, you're engaging in what is a ritual under a fake sun, and the absurdity is speaking to what is martial law and malice. This is Unit Pacific testifying against Wendy's. This is P.O.C. The entity has the same conduct, which you're not going to hear this train that I'm looking at the library. When the entity is triggered by what I'm stating, The entity engages in utilizing that audible activity as the guise of monitoring. It's not a guise, it's audible activity. The entity in the Wendy's parking lot under the fake sign is engaging in surveillance. Wendy's is stalking. African American operating protocol with a Texas plate on it. All right, that train activity, he's monitoring, and I'll just right over me. Protocol is gang stalking and doing so with the city of Upland at Wendy's. So multiple angles of analysis there, and engaging in what is criminal summoning. That African American and protocol are engaging in criminal summoning. The entity engaging in criminal summoning while the police are stalking me. That's how concerned and obsessed with me a police department is, because they're not people. That's the Nephilim that's maintaining an agency that's being disbanded. Those are demons. Those aren't humans. And it's pathetic how they're stalking so hard. But this is P.O.C. at what is Wendy's, as I'm standing at the front at 3:41 p.m. and the entity is keeping the fake sign over me while I'm remaining at the Upland Public Library. So what is Union Pacific actually engaging in? It's the criminal elements of monitoring. It's psychological torture. Things which corporations have yet to be found liable for under the law, and things which trains railroad like Union Pacific Metrolink. These corporations that are being federally prosecuted while engaging in state surveillance. That's the P.O.C. All right, the entity's engaged in surveillance inside of Wendy's. Everything is under surveillance, including my vagina is under surveillance, and the stalkers come from outside inside to engage in surveillance. This is P.O.C.
Hi, welcome in. Just a second, okay?
No problem. Hi, I would like to try. I want to try one of your sandwiches. I'm not trying to ask you, but if I asked you what's on a sandwich, would you know? Okay. So what's on the the number 6 spicy chicken sandwich?
Lettuce, tomato, pickle, and egg.
Okay. Can I just get the sandwich by itself? Yeah, the sandwich by itself with no mayo then, please. That'll be it. Actually, just the sandwich. Oh my goodness, it's so hot. Woo! Is it like 95? Outside? I think it's hotter than 95. It's usually hot, but it seems hotter right now.
Oh, yeah, it's like the hot air.
Yeah, it seems hotter. It's like really, really hot. So usually I don't complain, it's always hot, but it's like really hot right now. Yeah. Okay. All right, protocol is monitoring outside and then walks right into the venue, gang stalking me with the venue. Oh. Oh. Okay. Thank you. Is the bathroom called the same? Yeah, 360.
No, we have to move the. No, we have to move the. Yes, we have to move that.
Can you be helped?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, look at you on the opposite side.
How are you?
Alrighty. It's 3:45 p.m. Alrighty, this is documentation, so you are literally disregarding the substance of any music that you hear in the background. It's irrelevant. It's only relevant insofar as it's audible activity and engineer light, which is ongoing in the bathroom. But this is documentation regarding criminal monitoring, which you should be aware is ongoing in these manners, such as playing music to keep you under surveillance. But nonetheless, I want to run down how Wendy's is engaged in vagina monitoring, the sex offense committed in furtherance of murder, in cooperation, coordinated, facilitated while the U.S. government is maintaining surveillance, which Wendy's is engaging in. Wendy's employees and Wendy's customers. So under the law, they're all third parties. I'm just going through the subclasses of third parties who are all sharing in the pattern of conduct. And Wendy's is literally engaging in what is surveillance in order to make sure that I am surrounded at all corners, at all times, at all moments, while at Wendy's, while anywhere in the vicinity of Wendy's, where the entities engaging in what is targeting me, surveilling me, and also psychologically torturing. The impossible light activities inside of the restaurant. The fake sun is over the restaurant. And Wendy's customers and employees are sharing and surrounding me as I move around inside of the restaurant. So protocol, the African-American male, he's stalking in the parking lot, which I capture on video. Union Pacific is the means of audible activity. As I go into the as I go into the restaurant, he leaves from the parking lot and enters behind me, stalking, going into the restaurant. He walks right into the back. He is gang stalking through criminal facilitation of Wendy's restaurant. And this third party is then pacing as I capture the third party that's stalking as a patron at the venue with a young female child, monitoring my device. That demon begins crossing path, walking by, and then walking back and forth. I capture that in images. You can see the African-American's face. That is protocol that's engaging in terrorism and stalking and further into murdering me as well. Because this demon is stalking under the guise of being an employee and is engaged in what is the pattern of conduct. The pattern of conduct is also to maliciously engage in the elements of monitoring. So protocol is engaging in the P.O.C. and so is this third party. The entity goes right back outside protocol. The third party goes into the parking lot, remains in the parking lot. I sit at the booth where I'm seated inside consuming the food that I purchased, and the third party male with a child is stalking, remaining inside of the restaurant. This entity is engaged in what is surveillance, lying in wait in order to engage in what is surveilling vagina. Nicholas is in the venue. He's not dressed up as an employee yet. He is gang stalking nonetheless, who was one who was employed and may or may not be actually on the clock. He is not dressed as though he's on the clock. He does take position outside of the bathroom, and that's where he remains. As I enter into the restroom, the third party operating the protocol vehicle, this is a demon that's monitoring. So as I begin packing up my stuff, as I move, this demon is already aware of that. And this is how he is simultaneously meeting, that is stalking at the entrance door. I take a picture of what is crossing path, stalking me inside of the restaurant, and doing so while I show you the fake sun, proof that this is a demon that is stalking me, and Wendy's is being prosecuted for psychological torture. And the entity is engaging what is stalking while an employee is lying in wait inside of the restroom. And again, with simultaneity upon my entrance, this sex offender, this female Latina who is at the restaurant gang stalking as an employee, flushes the toilet upon my entry. This is the entity that is stalking and maintaining activity as I move around inside of the venue, and they're doing this under the fake sun. This is the demon possessed that are engaging in gang stalking, and they are incorporating what is the venue, the corporation itself. Wendy's is gang stalking. This is how you're prosecuting that corporation, that logo itself. It is separate and distinct from prosecuting any employee, any third party, any government actor, all of the pattern of conduct. You're prosecuting literally that business, which is a legal fiction on paper. I'm prosecuting Wendy's for engaging in the sex offense, for engaging in terrorism, while the entity, the venue itself, its employees, its customers, and the government is engaging in what is gang stalking me at Wendy's, while I'm en route to Wendy's, while I'm leaving Wendy's, and while I'm using the restroom and monitoring my vagina inside of Wendy's. This is P.O.C. It is currently 4:22 p.m. Alrighty, it is currently 4:26 p.m. So completing a purchase right now. I made another purchase in the same employees that are monitoring, specifically the one that is stalking physically in the bathroom is the one that completes my order at the register. And again, the entity is systematically stalking, so as I walk out of the bathroom, a customer is entering. You can do that vice versa. As I walk out of the bathroom, a customer is exiting. As I walk out of the bathroom, a customer has already entered and is just sitting outside of the bathroom. Whatever the entity is doing, they're maintaining presence as I'm walking around. They are stalking. The entity is engaged in this while the entity is making money. This gang stalker is coming in making a purchase. Wendy's is profiting from gang stalking, and Wendy's is engaging in sexual violence, and they're making money off of sexual violence. So the entity is also doing so and further into the conspiracy to commit murder, and Wendy's is profiting from that. The gang stalkers come in and spend money in order to engage in that pattern of conduct because the demons believe if they are customers, then they have an alibi regarding gang stalking, and it is literally an admission to criminal presence and activity creation in furtherance of murder. So the entities, and while you are exhibiting severe mental instability. So the entity that's engaged in vagina monitoring is doing so while I am walking out of the bathroom. The entity's engaging in what is Maintaining this environment, the stalker is following inside. They're following you even while they don't walk behind you and they go sit somewhere else. They are following you. The fake sons are remaining over you. This is the entity that is stalking. Okay, the entity is doing so on behalf of the government. This is the government that is stalking you. While I am at the register, a third party is stalking with light. I am subject to psychological torture while this demon, Wendy's as well, is making money through my purchase and through the purchase of gang stalkers who are coming in to engage in criminal activity. And the entity is stalking me with impossible light that rips through the restaurant. And I've documented this inside of Starbucks. I've documented this inside of Walmart. So you know what I'm referring to when I say impossible light. I've documented this for years. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, over 900, over 1,000 videos of impossible light activity, which is what is occurring while I'm at the register ordering something, and I am documenting the license plate of that third party. This is how Wendy's is engaging in what is stalking. Thank you. And this is what is Wendy's. Understand corporations engage in psychological torture, which corporations are going to be liable. They are liable under the law. All right, while they're taking your order, oh, how are you doing? Yes, and you're being accosted with impossible light activity. They're monitoring you. And they're behaving as though nothing is happening. The entity is exposing how mentally ill they are. And corporations are prosecuted for the psychological harms for violating your right to be free and to have your well-being not be harmed and endangered by corrupt venues, corrupt restaurants, corporations such as Wendy's that are stalking with its own customers who are in agreement to engage in this criminal activity together. That is the conspiracy that is completed while the entity is stalking with impossible light activity, which is already an established fact. This is what this third party is doing, and they're doing it while I'm making a purchase in the presence of this third party who was also in the bathroom monitoring my vagina. 9 Charlie Charlie Frank 694. This image is taken at 4:24 p.m. the same time that I'm completing my purchase at the register, where I'm subject to being stalked by impossible light. Okay, the employees are maintaining surveillance outside of the bathrooms. The demon possessor targeting me inside of the restroom with impossible light. And these demons engage in surveillance of vagina by maintaining a third-party customer. This male, you'll see that he had everything that they do and the way they do it is intentional. So you're coming in, lying in wait to monitor vagina, and you intentionally bring in a little girl. And let's just see, I don't know, perhaps that makes you feel like you look like less of a vagina monitor because you are in custody of a little girl. This is the entity that's engaging in that under the fake sun, and all of that is absurd. It's relevant that you are in custody of a child, a female child, while you are monitoring the vagina under all circumstances of the people, of the targeted individual. The fact that you are in custody of a child is speaking to protecting a child that is being raised and engaging in sexual violence. It is under no circumstances rebutting that you're engaged in vagina monitoring. That's not questioned. This is the P.O.C, however. The entity is engaging in this while I am at Wendy's. Wendy's that is located at 590 East Holt Boulevard. This is all government action. So this is letting you know about the government that's a sex offender, the government that's a stalker, the government that's engaged in violating the well-being, torturing American citizens, and doing so while seeking to falsely depict your character. But these demons could not engage in what is making anybody look crazy while they have shown themselves to be a banner for what is mental illness. The entity is engaging in this. The black Kia Telluride is the entity that's gang stalking at 4:30 p.m. They're on surveillance cameras, completing a purchase and stalking with impossible light activity. And they're doing so while they are monitoring the evidence. And this is Wendy's that's engaging in retaliation, which is psychologically harmful for me. I'm going to prosecute Wendy's for this. This is occurring inside of the venue where the entity first seeks to engage in it inconspicuously. And then the demons have a psychotic break. They start pacing. They engage in amplified audible activity. They engage in what is more impossible light activity, like what the entity did right now. This is the entity that's engaging in what is exhibiting its own mental illness while stalking the federal prosecutor. And that's why companies, corporations like Wendy's are going to cease to exist. This is why the employees are going to federal prison. While this third party speeds off, I don't understand what they are believing that they're accomplishing, because these employees are all going to prison. They're all going to federal prison. And the evidence that I'm documenting is the evidence to have them subject to mental examinations, while they're also monitoring the evidence, and they are aware that they're going to prison because they were monitoring the federal prosecutor the entire time, which is also why they are going to prison. This is P.O.C. I did document the third parties' license plates that are in the parking lot, and it does include third parties who are criminally liable as well, regardless of being employees or not. All employees, and the entity is going to produce that evidence. And in addition to those, the supplemental evidence that I have of the employees that are, and those that are representing themselves as employees at Wendy's who are going to federal prison, includes Nicholas Skyley, The entity that's engaging in Lupe, that's engaging in what is harassment, I've documented them already. And the entities engaging in this while they are stalking with impossible light. 8 George, 0 Edward, 172 is stalking with impossible light activity. While the demon in the black Kia Telluride is the specific third party. That third party is an entity. License 8 GOE 172 is engaging in terrorism and psychological torture and vagina monitoring and retaliation while they are criminally monitoring evidence in a case against the government, which they have no basis to do so. While I document you, you are subject to federal prison, but nonetheless, all the employees are going to prison, period, for serving food and engaging in the pattern of conduct. Wendy's is also engaged in collateral harm such as poisoning and harassment. Okay, so targeted harassment. The entities engaged in this with third-party license plate 3 David Henry 999, engaging what is stalking with impossible light with the third party that is exhibiting the mental illness that's shared by all of them. Stalking with impossible light is the psychologically torturous tactics of the demon possessed who are monitoring you, and this is actionable in court. So the entity is also subject to mental examinations and voluntary commitments with the evidence that I have gathered in order to prove that the entity is practicing the supernatural to psychologically torture you, harass and threaten, and as the sex offenders prove now, retaliate, which is only in their mind because you are going to prison. So this is an entity that's literally mentally ill. The stupidity is because they are mentally ill. It's rooted in mental illness. You are not retaliating, in fact. It just makes you as a psychopath feel better in the moment when you are ultimately going to prison for what I'm documenting, which is not questioned. This is that P.O.C. Nonetheless, it is currently 4:33 p.m. This is the entity engaging in vagina monitoring. Wendy's is a sex offender. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
You too. Alright, I just want to show. Yeah, this is impossible light activity that's on the inside of the restaurant. But this is also where the entity is engaged in gang stalking. The employee is stalking in the path as I move around, not a coincidence, and maintaining surveillance. Right, and what you'll see is the evidence of stalking is the fake sun moving over me. So while the demons are exiting through the drive-thru, like I've documented at Starbucks, in fact, I'll attach that video, driving out of the drive-thru where the entity is engaged in stalking, filling the venue with light. This is what the entity is doing, and the entity doing it very subtly, right? The entity is, the demons are very much hostile. They're hostile because they're scared. So the entity that's scared begins pacing in helicopter, begins lighting up the police vehicles and pacing all around me. This is fear. It's obviously not strength, but it's literally fear when I am documenting them. And the entity that is fearful is the entity that's going to be committed, okay? But the entities engaging in the pattern of conduct, and Wendy's, you see this fake sun? This is the prosecution of Wendy's, and you've been given notice. Your employees are going to prison, and I'm going to civilly prosecute you for psychological torture. And the entities engaging in what is harassment and psychological torture, Wendy's is engaging in furtherance of the conspiracy to murder, which you are engaging in a conspiracy with the government that is stalking me by plane and helicopter at this venue, which is also on the record already. And Wendy's is maintaining impossible light activity all over this wall and all over this wall. And this is the pattern of conduct that you've already seen. Starbucks. Driving on the street, this is the entity that's targeted. The fake sun is remaining stationary. Okay, it's not outside of the window of the buses of Omnichannel like I'm documenting on Route 61 at all times of the day. Let's see it again. It's not remaining through the window of the bus of Oningtons and also remaining over me stationary. Okay? It's also not in Upland, California, over the roof where Adam Tuckerman and all the rest of those demons are gang stalking. This is the prosecution of a corporation that's engaged in the P.O.C. All right? And they're targeting me, and he's engaged in targeting me, doing so while making money. And you are going to be prosecuted for profiting from psychological torture and profiting from criminal activity. The entities engaged in it, and it is a group effort. And psychological torture is identified by supernatural behaviors, which are designed to monitor you and also psychologically harm you. They are a threat and harm to your well-being. They present a danger to your well-being, which Wendy's is engaging in maliciously, okay? Its gang stalking employees are the evidence of intent and malice, and its gang stalking customers who are sitting in what is impossible light activity. This is the P.O.C. Alrighty, and the entity is engaged in federal stalking. So filling the venue with impossible light activity is what they're doing while they are pacing through the drive-thru. This is the P.O.C. and Wendy's is doing that while I'm documenting them. So that's also relevant that Wendy's is engaging in retaliatory conduct while they are monitoring, engaging in federal stalking. And this is the behavior of the mentally ill. Okay, companies, corporations that are practicing mentally ill practices, that is translated to corporations as being one that's a threat to the public. Okay, and that is the basis to remove that company from existence. This is P.O.C. It's 4:41 p.m. This is evidence of the entity stalking with light. That's protocol. He's engaged in vagina monitoring, lying in wait to engage in vagina monitoring, and stalking in the path, stalking in a building. And so is protocol. This is P.O.C. All right, stalking with impossible light activity. License 9 Apple Yolanda Frank 979. Doing so while they're monitoring what I'm doing on my phone, which I'm capturing evidence on my phone regarding vagina monitors. And as I capture the screenshot, impossible light activity is like attacking me. This is psychotic. License 9 AYF 979 is sharing in that, and so is protocol. The entity engaging in this conduct while they are engaging in surveillance, and then they engage in these acts of terror, which is admission to stalking and monitoring and being a demon while they are engaging in that surveillance. And this is all state action. Okay, this is all the P.O.C. Alrighty, and this is all attributed to the employees who are going to prison. 9 Apple Yolanda Frank 979 P.O.C. It's a female. Alrighty, this is Southwest Airlines that was stalking at Bethel Congregational Church, which is also not a straight shot down the street. Southwest Airlines is not maintaining flights just straight west. Southwest Airlines is stalking, and that is proven through the fake sun, where this population is also stalking. And this is exactly what Wendy's was engaging in, surrounding me inside and outside of the bathroom. Southwest Airlines is vagina monitoring in concert with the U.S. military that is acting with Wendy's, that's engaging in surveillance inside of the restaurant itself. Terrorism. Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in that. As I walk outside of any corporation and the government is stalking me by planes and helicopters, gaining the evidence of the specific environment, you are being executed. And if you think that it's based on your admitting that you're engaging in gang stalking, you do not understand how a federal prosecution works. And that's okay, because I'm here to teach everybody. You're being prosecuted, and I don't need you to admit to anything. You are admitting while the government is stupid enough to gang stalk me at your establishment, which is a crime scene, and it is not private property. And this is the evidence that you are engaging in surveillance of genitalia, which is a basis to remove corporations like Wendy's from existence. This Nicholas, the vagina monitor that's in the bathroom, protocol, this African-American male, they're following me around, they're stalking inside of that restaurant where the fake sun is over that restaurant. And this is a clear distinction from being over Wendy's while I am walking away from Wendy's, walking west at Pleasant Avenue and Holt, where the sun would not be in the same city. When you look at Google Maps, I'm around the corner from the City Hall, from the OVITT Family Community Library, where Southwest Airlines is stalking me. This is the P.O.C., and so are the people of the state. License 8 Uncle Frank Kelly 311 is a co-conspirator of murder, as are all of the demon-possessed that are residing and traveling and are present on behalf of a government that has no warrant, no probable cause, nor does there exist for the government to engage in criminal surveillance in order to murder an American citizen. Levying war is what the entity is doing, and there is a federal response. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 5:21 p.m.